Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nun-Qi, and in this occasion, I'd like to thank Prof. Fuad for giving me a chance to present my presentation about incorporating out-of-class English language development in pre-service teacher preparation by Jayakaran Mukundan from University Putra, Malaysia. And in this presentation, will cover 4 contents. The first is introduction and method. The method entitled my work with teacher trainees in Bachelor Education TESL program. And second is about research process entitled what my undergraduates did during the service learning episodes, and the third is what my undergraduate students said about their encounters with real learners in school during service learning episodes, and the last is about conclusion. The first is introduction, and as we know that foreign language learning generally has focused on emphasis on getting students to learn and within the classroom. This then make the curriculum as the education system become dependent on this kind of emphasis, which then resulted with constraints in the classroom learning. The constraints which make the education system naturally dependent on this kind of emphasis are such as limitations on time and cost, as well as political issue. However, this kind of system was forced into ELT, English language teaching, which then arise an internal influence which still connected with the classroom environment, majorly known as testing. The testing in one's life decide whether someone is good, average, or even bad. It is also used to decide the upward or downward one's ability in life, even for academic or not academic or non-academic. Thus, it can discriminate all things in life. For example, is people from good economic and social background will be favored when they need to improve their language proficiency by inviting foreign teachers into their homes, which then this support their test in English language proficiency or in foreign language proficiency, rather than the one with poor economic or social backgrounds, which cannot do the same thing as the good one. In result, the poor people will fail when they face the foreign language proficiency test, and this kind of phenomenon relates the test into teaching, and then it is called as teach to test, or we can say it also teach-test phenomenon. The curriculum is a system which controls the teaching process and then influence the teaching materials and also the classroom procedure. However, the teacher has intuition in finding problem within the system. I mean, the system here is the classroom or the learning activity, such as the problem is such as misfit within the restricted and constrained classrooms activity. And as the teacher believed that the test is a dominator of learning process, they can find a quick solution of the problem and misfit in order to make a teaching process a practice for the test taking. And thus the teach test is also seen as the control within the experimentation, within the classroom's activity, within the learning process. And then nowadays there are so many textbook developers which already design the textbook which help learners with this kind of test taking, and then it has implications within the classroom procedure which then result the teacher prescribe the learning, and then the learners will follow. The control practice will lead the learner to do more practices rather than to think more about the structure of the language, and then this kind of practice will result short-term memory retention within the learner's mind, and this kind of short-term memory will not help the learners in building their language proficiency. And then the other implication is that the teaching test is only focused on grammar rather than the practice on oral communication, which then the oral communication is only gets very little focused within the learning activity. And the researcher, in order to correct this kind of misled teaching, he believed that he need to work with people who haven't already started to work as teacher, and thus he chose the undergraduate students in the educational program, with hopes to impress the fact that short-term memory is only temporal, and to expand the confined classroom, which then need the interference as a teacher. And thus the researcher tried to impress to the undergraduate students the importance of out-of-class learning, which can result with fast development of language proficiency through the surface learning episodes, where the students can carry out the undergraduate students can carry out the practice in actual school situation, and the school students can practice more about their oral speaking skills. And to carry out this out-of-class learning activity, the researcher suggests to the undergraduate students to work on project-based learning, which emphasizes on the process rather than the product. And this way, the school students of Mara Junior Science College can enjoy the task and feel the sense of achievement by the end of the projects. And the projects also allow the learners to enjoy more the tasks, which allow them to take risks and do more errors, and also the sense of achievement feeling by the end of the project. The next part of the presentation is about the processes which engage the undergraduate students, and also the aim MRSM students in the out-of-class learning activity. And the MRSM students, or we call school students, were mentored by the undergraduate students in making a short film. The school students were managed by 2 undergraduate students for each class. And here are some stages of the activity. The first stage is the input sessions. This stage is the stage where the students discuss about the limitations of the time and length of the film. And the second stage is about theme and brainstorm sessions, which is enabling the students to discuss about the whole process of the film, from making the storyboard until the editing and uploading processes. And the last stage is reviewing sessions, where the undergraduate students sat together with the students and discuss and review about the film, about some changes which will they do to the film, and also edit the film and afterwards uploading the film on YouTube. The next part of presentations is about research results, entitled what the undergraduate students said about their real experience during service learning episodes. And as the whole process of project-based learning is the activity of out-of-class learning process, the researcher found some positive comments coming from both undergraduate students and also the school students. The comments are categorized into 5 themes. The theme 1 is including the statement of the undergraduate students, which commented that the service learning made them more confident in their teaching, since they already experienced the real teaching in the field, and moreover in the out of class learning activity, which has more obstacles rather than one inside the classroom. And the second is that is a theme which comes from the school students, which commented that they preferred this kind of learning to one of learning in the classroom. They preferred the out of class learning activity because they feel more impact to their learning process rather than the activity which occurred inside the classroom. And the theme 3 is that undergraduate students commented that the school students use the English language more extensively in this kind of learning activity rather than because they are to participate. They are also engaged in the learning process, so they can observe on the students' communication, on the students' language use on site. And theme 4 is coming from undergraduate students' comments, which stated that technology use, such as using the cameras, editing programs, are the least challenges that school students face during the activity. And also the theme 5 is stated that the biggest satisfactions for the school students is that their undergraduate is when their undergraduate facilitators uploaded their films on YouTube, and this is according to the statement the of the previous uh, slides, that project-based learning has more impact to the students. At the end of project, the students feel satisfaction when the undergraduate students uploaded the films on YouTube. Okay, and then we come to the last part of the presentations. It's about the conclusion. From the research process and also the results, the researcher concludes that the project-based learning is useful in leading the students into bigger things in their experience, and also the real communications in this, especially particularly in English language, is occurred during project-based learning and on-off-class learning situations, such as the comment of the undergraduate students that the students is actively communicating in English language during the process, and thus important for the teacher to be more tolerant on the errors which made by the students, because being tolerant will make the learners to be more encouraged to take risks in communicating in English language. And I think that's all about my presentation. If there's any question, you can just ask me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.